शिवस्ति गौरभक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गाधा शिवस्ति गौरभक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गाधा शिवस्ति गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today is a Tuesday. It is 28th of January. It is Madhava Masa or Magha Masa. Sukla Paksham Vidyatadi. There are no Vaishnava events in the calendar. So we shall move into our daily Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, so Maitreya Muni speaking to Vidura, so about the Lord Brahma's penance and how he has seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart and how the Lord is responding to Brahma. So all those things. So in the last session, we were seeing the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu speaking to Brahma. O Brahma, you have glorified me very nicely. And whoever is glorifying me every day like this, I will fulfill all of their desires. So, Yayetena Pumanityam Tattvastotre Namam Bhajet Tasyasa Samprasideyam Sarvakama Vareshwaraha. So, and then after that, saying that, O Brahma, everyone's austerities and penances, yajna, sacrifices, and the meditation and the charities and everything, it is to be done only for my pleasure's sake. This is the desire. Um, the great scholars they have decided like that. It is their opinion. Likewise, puttena tapasa yajnaihi danaihi yoga samadhina radham nishreyasam pumsam mat pritihi tattvain matam mat pritihi. Only for my pleasure, not for anyone's pleasure. This is the ultimate goal of everyone's austerities, penances, charities, and everything. If one is giving any charity to something for Krishna, it is only for the sake of Krishna's pleasure. If anyone is contributing Lakshmi, it is only for pleasure of Krishna, not for our personal sense gratification or not for any pious things. It is for pleasure of Krishna. Mat pritihi tattvin matam. Likewise, Lord is saying to Brahma. And then after that, today, he is mentioning to Brahma, O Brahma, I am the super soul of all the living entities. I am the super soul of all the living entities. And I am the, I give directions to the living entity to carry out his things, whatever he desires. I give, and also whenever he needed some kind of introspection, I give those instructions. And because of all these reasons, one must, and I should be the most dearest objective for all the living entities, not anything else. But people, they are dearer to their body, but actually they should be dearest. They need to make me as their dearest objective, not anyone else. So sometimes people say that they are selfish, but Krishna is supremely selfish, but he is transcendently selfish. Everyone should like only Krishna. So he stresses that one again. Okay, so likewise, Lord is saying to Brahma, this is the we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 9, and verse number 42. Aham atma atmanam dhatah प्रेष्टः सन्प्रेषामपि अतो मयि रतिं कुर्यात् देहादिः यत्कृते प्रियः aham atma atmanam dhatah. Aham myself, atma the super soul, atmanam of all other souls. Aham atma atmanam dhatah the director. Dhataha. And Preshtaha san Presamapi. Preshtaha, the dearest son being, and Presamapi, out of all the dear things, I should be the most dearest one for all the living entities. Presamapi, certainly. Ato mayi ratim kuryad. Therefore, mayi, ato mayi, ato is therefore, mayi unto me, ratim, the attachment, kuryad, one should do. One should attach to me only. And they need to make me as most dearest objective in their life. Ato mayi ratim kuryad, dehadihi yat krute priyaha, dehadihi, the body and mind, yat krute, on whose account, priyaha, very dear. At the moment, they are thinking that their body is dearest one for them. But actually, they should like me, they should love me, they should make their life and soul only me. So this is supremely selfish. Krishna is transcendently, supremely. He's again stressing this point is very sometimes why we need to only worship Krishna. Here Krishna is stressing the same point here. Yes, you need to worship only me. You need to like only me, not anyone else. Okay, this is aham atma atmanam dhataha preshtaha san presamapi ato mayi ratim kuryat dehadihi yat kurje priyaham. It's a translation. I am the super soul of every individual. I am the supreme director and the dearest. People are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to me only. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so there are three paragraphs in the purport. Can I request three devotees to read? Can I request Prabhavati Sachi Mataji, one first paragraph and
Yeah.
a second
Purport
paragraph?
by Divan Krishna Prabhupada.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Purport by Divan Krishna Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is the dearest in both the conditioned and liberated states. When a person does not know that the Lord is the only dearmost object, then he is in the conditioned state of life, and when one knows perfectly well that the Lord is the only dearmost object, he is considered to be liberated. There are degrees of knowing one's relationship with the Lord, depending on the degree of realization as to why the Supreme Lord is the dearmost object of every living being. The real reason is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita 15.7. Mamai Vamsho Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatanaha. The living entities are eternally parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The living entity is called the Atma, and the Lord is called the Paramatma. The living entity is called Brahman, and the Lord is called the Parabrahman, or the Parameshwara. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha. The conditioned souls who do not have self realization accept the material body as the dearmost. The idea of the dearmost is that then spread all over the body, both concentrated and extended. The attachment for one's own body and its extensions, like children and relatives, is actually developed on the basis of the real living entity. As soon as the real living entity is out of the body, even the body of the most dear son is no longer attractive. Therefore, the living spark or eternal part of the Supreme is the real basis of affection and not the body. Because the living entities are also parts of the whole living entity, that supreme living entity is the factual basis of affection for all. One who has forgotten the basic principle of his love for everything has only flickering love because he is in Maya. The more one is affected by the principles of Maya, the more he is detached uh, from the basic principle of love. One cannot factually love anything unless he is fully developed in the loving service of the Lord. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Can request Devashish Prabhuji to read the second paragraph, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Bol. In the present verse, stress is given to focusing love upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Kuriyak is significant here. This means one must have it. It is just to stress that we must have more and more attachment to the principle of love. The influence of Maya is experienced by the part and parcel of a spiritual entity, but it cannot influence the super soul, the Paramatma. The Mayavadi philosophers, accepting the influence of Maya on the living entity, want to become one with the Paramatma. But because they have no actual love for the Paramatma, they remain even entrapped by the influence of Maya and are unable to approach the vicinity of the Paramatma. This inability is due to their lack of affection for the Paramatma. A rich miser does not know how to utilize his wealth, and therefore, in spite of his being very rich, his miserably behavior keeps him everlastingly a poor man. On the other hand, a person who knows how to utilize wealth can quickly become a rich man even with a small credit balance. So Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, so next, can I request Ms. Radha Sevakar Mataji available to read?
I'll try. The eyes and the sun are very intimately related because without sunlight, the eyes are unable to see. But the other parts of the body, being attached to the sun as a source of warmth, take more advantage of the sun than do the eyes. Without possessing affection for the sun, the eyes cannot bear the rays of the sun. Or, in other words, such eyes have no capacity to understand the utility of the sun's rays. Similarly, the empiric philosophers, despite their theoretical knowledge of Brahman, cannot utilize the mercy of the Supreme Brahman because they lack affection. So many impersonal philosophers remain everlastingly under the influence of Maya because although they indulge in theoretical knowledge of Brahman, they do not develop affection for Brahman, nor do they have any scope for development of affection because of their defective method. A devotee of the sun god, even though devoid of eyesight, can see the sun god as he is even from this planet. Whereas one who is not a devotee of the sun cannot even bear the glaring sunlight. Similarly, by the devotional service, even though one is not on the level of a jnani, one can see the personality of Godhead within himself due to his development of pure love. In all circumstance, one should try to develop love of Godhead, and that will solve all contending problems.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is describing about the conditioned souls and the liberated souls and the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the relationships. So Lord is saying here, everyone should only love me and make me as the dearest in both conditioned and the liberated states. So he says, okay, so he is the dearest. So Prabhupada says, Lord is the dearest in both conditioned and liberated states. And if you do not know that one, the Lord is the only dearmost object, then he is in the conditioned state of life. Then he thinks that I am this body, I need to make body fit, go to gym and make body beautiful and apply so many cosmetics, make it so nice and appealing to everyone else. In such a way, he is mostly attached to the body. That is conditioned state of life. But if the same thing, that decorations, I want to do this for the sake of Krishna, to engage this body in the service of Krishna. So he is not meant to be stopped with his decorations, but if he is decorating himself for the pleasure of Krishna, sometimes we may see in the Vrindavan some men who are mostly absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. They wear the nice saris and dresses like a gopi and go to the temple. Okay, and then they love, so because they want to give pleasure to Krishna by their service and by their appearance. So here, when a person does not know that Lord is the only dearmost object, then he is in the conditioned state of life. But when one knows perfectly well that the Lord is the only dearmost object, then he is considered to be liberated. Atma Ramasya Munyo Nirghandapi Gurukrame Kurvanti Aithikim Bhaktim Ittam Bhuta Guno Harihi. Even the one is liberated and from the material things, then but still such kind of people are attracted to Krishna. Parinishtopi Naigunya, Parinistitopi Naigunya, Uttama Shloka Vikrame. So, Uttama Shloka Lelaya, Grihita Cheta Rajasya Akyanam Yadaditavan. Sukadeva Goswami says, even though I am liberated, I am not interested in the Parinistitopi, Naigunya, Uttama Shloka Lelaya, Grihita Cheta Rajarshe Akyanam Yed Aditavan, Akyanam, and knowing about the Lord and all his pastimes, entering into those pastimes, Yed Aditavan. So likewise, Sukadeva Goswami says, Krishna is attractor of the liberated souls. So there are degrees of one's relationship with the Lord depending on the degree of realization as to why the Supreme Lord is the dearmost object of every living being. Because when this devotional service, transcendental loving devotional service, it is fructified. Tvam bhakti bhava paribhavita hrut saroja आस्ते सुतेक्षित पतु नरनाद पुंसम यद्यध्यात उर्गाय विभावयन्ति तद्धद्वपुः प्रणसे सदनुग्रहाय. Then Lord will appear to them in the beautiful form, whatever the form they want. Yadjadhyaha taddadvapuhu, in the similar kind of body. Whatever the devotee is attracted to, Lord will appear to them in the similar way. But that is Tvam Bhakti Bhav Paribhavita Hrit Saroja, Paribhavita, completely mature devotion. So that is and the degrees of knowing one relationship with the Lord, depending on the degree of realization as to why the Supreme Lord is most dearest object of every living entity. So this one is, Prabhupada is bringing, Mamaivamsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutaha Sanatanaha. So as a living entity, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mamaiva Amsha Jivaloke Jivabhutaha Sanatanaha. We belong to the Apare Misaswanyam Vidhime Param Prakritim. Jivabhuta Mahabaho Edam dharite jagat. We are part and parcel. Now, this part and parcel fell into the muddy pool, and now it is contaminated with all these bhotas, panchabhotas, the mind, intelligence, ego, the contaminated state, and three material modes of nature. So we need to take it and then wash it properly by hearing of Krishna Katha. Madharmano gunairetaihi parisham shuddhasayaha. Parisham shuddhasayaha. Purushasya anjasabhyeti shrutamatra gunam himam. When we keep hearing about the Lord, this will wash away all the dirt accumulated on top of that part and parcel of the Lord. Then it will come a pure gold. So the real reason is clear. This one is Mamai Vamsha. We are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So living entities are eternally part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The living entity is called Atma, and the Lord is called Paramatma. Atma and Paramatma, both are of the similar nature. But Lord is always situated. He is the Kotastaha. He is Achyuta, whereas the living entity is the Chita, because whenever he forgets the relationship with the Lord, then there is a chance for him to fall down. And the living entity is called Brahman, and the Lord is called Parabrahman or the Parameshwara. So Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Sachidananda Vigrahaha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. Okay, likewise, Prabhupada is establishing the relationships, and everything is sometimes other people call Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Brahma is the living entity again, and also sometimes addressing the Supreme Brahma. And the name Brahma. Brahma also is for the Vedas. Tene Brahma. But here, on the contrary, this is a living entity, and Supreme Lord is Parabrahma. And then here, for the conditioned souls who do not have self-realization, accept the material body as the dearmost. Because even though they are seeing that the beautiful body is getting it born as a beautiful, but initially it may be just in the urine and stool and come and then crying, and after that the body will be cleansed by the parents. Later on they will adore it, and the due course of time that living entity or the baby, so he grows in an environment always crying, where parents always put some conditions. Whether though he doesn't like, he will grow in the hands of those parents. And for everything he cries, but parents don't understand. But in such a way, later on parents give that this is your name, and the baby thinks that, oh, this is my name, this body is me, and it is mine, and then it is my shirt, my things, my toys, my home, my parents. Likewise, he is mostly surrounded by his bodily nature. Yadadruvasya dehasya sanubhandasya dhurmatihi. Everything he thinks that it belongs to me, inclusive of his body. But actually, they yata putra chivitta cha pratukmatyah pratiyate. Api atmatven abhimata deha dehe purushastadha. But living entity is not belonging to all of these things. This body is also one of its tool, and all the things like a yata putra chivittacha pratakmatya pratiyate. One who has possessed all the gold, house, and land like that. This body is also one of the tool for the living entity. Deha dehe purushaha tada. Okay, but they think that body is the dearmost for them. And they think always dhruvani manyate mohat by the illusion. So the idea of dearmost is then spread all over the body, both concentrated and extended. Sanubhandasya durmatihi, all related to the body. Okay, the attachment for one's body and its extensions like children and relatives is actually developed on the basis of the real living entity, because of the soul is present and the body is moving and the loving exchanges takes place between the living entities. That's why we may establish the love. Okay, children, and they're more adorable, they're moving and talking. If the living entity is not there within the body, that body is thrown or burnt to ashes, thrown in the water, or buried in the soil. So even the body is beautiful. So the body starts to decompose. It is not because of the word, because the living entity is present. Okay, so this is what, and as soon as living entity is out of the body, even the body of the most dear son is no longer attractive. No one will keep the dead body in the home. It will be taken to the graveyard immediately. And people will not allow to go back again to. Sometimes we may see this is we are not the bodies. To digest that part, it is very difficult. No, though we have got philosophies and everything is saying the same thing, but it is not that much easy in reality. We cry a lot, lament for the body's sake, because we are attaching to the body that much. But that Lord arranges in sometimes in our day-to-day life, one person want to do other thing, maybe the husband want to do one thing, but wife does not like. Wife wanted to do something, husband does not like it. There, what we have to do is, when the emotions are taking place, we should tolerate. Okay, Lord is arranging like this. So because that will cut the knots. When we tolerate, it will cut the knots. When we speak under reactively or proactively, and that will attaches the bodily attachment. It will make more and more into bodily attachments. We have to simply tolerate, understand it, and what is right we say, and if they accept it, that is well and good. But it needs to be scripturally based conversations. Scripturally based conversations, not because I like it, because I know it, or something like that, because of previous experience, but it must be aligning to the Shastric injunctions. Then duty is done, and whether they take it or not take it, we need to simply wait and see. If they're taking it, that is well and good. But it is Lord arranges in such a way that one may be disappointed in due course of time with one's behaviors, and then they will be attached to the Lord again in the due course of time to the Lord. Because unless one side is detachment is there, this is Tobrutti samsara taruh kotaram. Lord will cut the knots to the bodily attachments. Taruh kotaram. Kotaram is the axe. He will cut the knots with all the bodily attachments. But we need to simply tolerate for some time. But that does not mean that we are separating physically from them, but mentally we are separating. We are attached to Krishna. When we are attached to Krishna, we pour the same love to the family members in the similar way, but in a different level. Understanding, okay, he is, and either it is son or daughter or husband or wife, they're all the children of God. I am also part and parcel of God. We are all spirit sparks of the supreme whole. So because living entities are also part and parcel of the whole living entity, the supreme living entity is the factual basis of affection for all. So one who has forgotten the basic principle of his love for everything has only flickering love because he is in Maya. Maya means not this. Ma means no, Ya means this. This material world is not permanent. This is not ours. And this body is not ours. This is Maya. But this is called flickering love. Okay, that is based on the bodily conception of life. So one more, the more one is affected by the principle of Maya, the more he is attached from the principle of love. Okay, so this is the more he is detached from the basic principle of love. And one cannot factually love anything unless he is fully developed in the loving service of the Lord. When we serve the Lord, then automatically love it will sprout. Bhaktirutpadyate pumsaha. Bhakti utpatyate. Bhaktirutpadyate pumsaha. The love and it sprouts from the heart. Okay, when we serve the Lord. So starting from the ears, when we hear about the Lord, Shrunutaha, Shrunutam Sukataha Krishnaha, Punyashravana Kirtanaha, starting from the hearing about the Lord. And later on engaging all our senses, bodily activities and everything, then that love keep on developing. So in the present verse, the stress is given to focusing love upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Kuryat is significant here. This means one must have it. One must have it. Kuryat. Okay, so it is just to stress that we must have more and more attachment to the principle of love. One must love only the Krishna, not anything else. So either we are at child age, youth, or adult, and then old age. So, but Krishna does not move, and Krishna does not decrease his beauty. He is always beautiful. Even though we become very old, he is the same beautiful. And if you are having our object of love to the same Krishna, then because Santam Kaishore is in the age of Kishore age. So, and Syama Vadataha Satapatra Lochanaha Pishenga Vastraha Suruchaha Supeshashaha Sarve Chaturbahu Udmi Sharmani Pravek Nishkabaranaha Suvatyasaha. So this is so much of beautiful thing described about the Lord and his devotees in the Vaikuntha planets. When we have got focus and love to the body of the Lord, then we also receive the similar kind of nature, like a meditation. Okay, so the influence of Maya is experienced by part and parcel spiritual entity, but it cannot influence the super soul, the Paramatma. Okay, he is supreme. That's why he is Achyuta. And the Mayavadi philosophers, accepting the influence of Maya and the living entity, want to become one with the Paramatma. Paramatma, this is what they wanted to become. Paratma Jivayor Aikyam, Mayatra Pratipadhyate. Mayatra Pratipad. Shankaracharya describes that Atma and Paramatma, they are of the same, but that is not the actual thing. So here Lord says, Kshetrajham Chapimam Vidhi, Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. So if you take one body, there are two living entities. One is supreme living entity, that is Paramatma. Another one is the individual living entity. Krishna, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, he establishes that one. Natvaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadipaha. So that shloka, he says that my individuality, your individuality always exists at all times and circumstances, past, present, and future. That individuality is always there. But here, this is again impersonalist. They think that they wanted to merge with the Paramatma. They want to become one with Paramatma. But because they have no actual love for Paramatma, they remain ever entrapped by influence of Maya and are unable to approach the vicinity of Paramatma. Yenya Ravindaksha Vimukta Maninaha Tvayashta Bhavad Avishuddha Buddhayaha Aruhya Kuruchirina Param Padam Tataha Patantyadaha Anadruta Yushmadangrayaha, because they do not understand the form of the Lord and they make mistakes at the lotus feet of the Lord. That they think that ultimate thing is the only the Brahman. But Krishna also again stresses the same point. Brahmano hi pratistaham amrutasya avyasya cha shashvatasya dharmasya surkasya aikantikasya cha. That Brahma is also depending on me. When if there is a person, so again, there is so many things are there to describe about this particular situation. It's a simple thing. Okay, so that's why people cannot approach the Lord. And that kind of impersonalism, it's spread. They will spread in the society, take the same Bhagavad Gita instructions, and they will change the entire meaning and change the intention of their speaking as well. They speak the same verses. Bhagavad Gita shlokas, they says Krishna Paramatma says this one, Krishna Paramatma says that one. So if you engage bhakti, you will get the knowledge, and based on the knowledge, you will get liberated. And that's it. They will speak about bhakti at only certain level. They do not uh, explain bhakti continues after that as well. Brahma bhutaha prasannatma na sochiti na kamchati. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. That bhaktim labhate param, when it happens, when he comes to the Brahma Bhota state. That part they do not describe. They will tell the initial bhakti, karma mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti, and then jnana. But after that, they do not take bhakti into it. Then they say, okay, after jnana, you will become more liberation. And that's it, finished. They do not tell this mad bhaktim labhate param. Beyond that, there is bhakti. What Krishna says, this one, they do not stress and explain. That is the defective of the impersonalist. This is what here Prabhupada is saying, lack of affection for the Paramatma. So a rich miser does not know how to utilize his wealth, and therefore, in spite of his being very rich, his miserly behavior keeps him everlastingly poor man. On the other hand, a person who knows how to utilize wealth can quickly become a rich man even with a small credit balance. Okay, this is how, again, giving analogy how whenever you utilize this wealth properly, then he will become more and more opulent. But that is here comparing to the love. And then further again, one more, the eyes and the sun, giving another analogy, eyes and the sun are very intimately related because without sunlight, the eyes are unable to see. But the other part of the body, being attached to the sun as a source of warmth, take more advantage of the sun than do the eyes. So this is what we see. We cannot directly see the sun god. But still, if we stand in the sunlight, our body receives the warmthness. So without possessing affection for the sun, the eyes cannot bear the rays of the sun. Or in other words, such eyes have no capacity to understand the utility of the sun rays. And similarly, the empiric philosophers, despite their theoretical knowledge of Brahman, cannot utilize the mercy of the Supreme Brahman because they lack affection. Because they lack affection. So they are also, in other side, they are afraid that if they can maintain the individuality, they think that, oh, if I maintain individuality, I may come down to again to this material world. In such a way, they maintain different kinds of perceptions because of despite their theoretical knowledge, and they cannot utilize the mercy of the Supreme Brahman. When everyone accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, but why they are still stopping at the Brahman's level? It is only Lord only knows. It is called Maya. This is what Krishna says to Lord Shiva, that you bewilder Kalpitai, Swagamaihi Kalpitai Tumcha Janan Mad Vipukan Kuru. Make all these people who are coming to me that are posing themselves as devotees, show them away, just giving misinterpretations. So that this is Jnanam Padityam Jnaninamapi, whoever hears that Mayavad philosophy a little bit, even though one is a uh, complete knowledge about the Lord, he may also fall down. Patityam jnanamapi, such a powerful uh, preaching of Mayavada philosophy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was telling all these things. So again, Swarup Damodar Goswami says that it is insane to hear, even to try to understand that impersonal preaching. It is insane because the intention is different. We cannot see their intention explicitly because it is embedded in their speakings. They do not speak about the devotional service and love towards the God. They speak always that you need to come out, you need to come out, but they do not engage the people to chant Hare Krishna. They will say that Namasmarana is required, but they do not engage them in making them to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is where the defective thing. And chanting and glorifying Krishna and doing bhajans, that kind of things, we do not see that would take place in a wider manner. It happens only in Krishna consciousness. Each and every person comes here, they will be applying the tilak and coming in a dress nicely, which is as per the some Vaishnava Sampradaya, and everyone glorifies the Gurus and the Mangalacharan prayers, doing Hare Krishna bhajans and chanting, follow rules and regulations. But this does not happen in the other side of the Krishna consciousness, outside of the Krishna consciousness. That does not happen much vividly. There are so many things, but here the process is solid. In Krishna consciousness, process is solid, but according to one's the desire and how he has developed, like once Sutta Goswami says, a bird can fly according to its strength in the sky. Likewise, I will glorify Supreme Personality of Godhead with my words. Based on one's strength, he can fly as much as he can in the devotional service. Okay, there is no bound for him. At least we are giving that space for him to expand as much as he can. That is Krishna consciousness. It accommodates everyone. Okay, so further, so many impersonal philosophers remain everlastingly under the influence of Maya because although they indulge in theoretical knowledge of Brahman, they do not develop affection for Brahman, nor do they have any scope for development of affection because of their defective mode. This is Tvayasta Bhavad Avishuddha Buddhayah Aruhya Kuruchirena Param Padam Tataha Anadruta Yushma Dhangrayah Patantyadaha Anadruta Yushma Dhangraya. They make mistakes at the lotus feet of the Lord. That's why Patanti Adaha fall down their position. Again, giving here, a devotee of the sun god, even though devoid of eyesight, can see the sun god as he is, even from this planet, whereas one who is not a devotee of the sun cannot even bear the glaring sunlight. Okay, but sun is always there. So many living entities. There are some of the owls Prabhupada used to give owl. So saying that if we speak to owl, there is a sun, it is so bright. Then owl says, no, there is nothing else. So and then it closes eyes, stays in the some hole of your tree and does not come out because it will come out only in the night, and the daytime it will always sleep. And there is no sun, there is no light. They say owl philosophy. Prabhupada used to give that analogy. And similarly, by devotional service, even though one is not on the level of jnani, one can see the personality of Godhead within himself due to his development of pure love. In all circumstances, one should try to develop love of Godhead, and that will solve all contending problems. Everything is directing only to Krishna and love to Krishna, service to Krishna. Eko devo devaki putra eva. एकं शास्त्रं देवकीपुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकीपुत्र एव and eko mantram tasya namani yani, and only one mantra, that is names of the god, that is Dev Krishna's names. Eko mantra tasya namani yani karmapyekam tasya devasya seva. What is the activity to be done? Tasya devasya seva, that service to the Krishna, Devaki Putra Krishna. That one Devaki Putra everywhere in the Vedas also mentioned by wide variety of devotees. Everyone reads and studies, but still some people are blind to it. Okay, likewise here Lord is saying, Aham Atma Atmanam Dhataha Preshtaha San Presamapi Ati Ato Mai Ratim Kurya Dehadihi Yat Kurute Priyaha. Okay, can I request dear devotees kindly recite line by line behind me? Aham Atma Atmanam Dhataha
अहम् आत्मानं धातः
Preshtaha San Presamapi
प्रेष्ठः सन् प्रेषामपि
Ato Mai Ratim Kuryad
अतो यतिं कुर्यान्
Dehadihi Yat Kurute Priyaha.
देहादे यत् कृते प्रियः
Again. Aham Atma Atmanam Dhataha
अहम्
आत्मानं धातः
Preshtaha San Presamapi
प्रेष्ठः सन्
प्रेषामपि
प्रेषामपि
अतो मयि रतिं कुर्याद्
अतो रतिं कुर्यात्
देहादिः यत्कृते प्रियः
देहादियत् कृते प्रियः
Once more. अहम् आत्मा आत्मानं धातः
अहम् आत्मा आत्मानं धातः
प्रेष्ठः सन् प्रेषामपि
प्रेष्ठः सन् प्रेषामपि
अतो मयि रतिं कुर्याद्
अतो मयि रतिं कुर्यात्
देहादिः यत्कृते प्रियः
देहादिः यत् कृते प्रियः
Very beautiful. Can I request devotees kindly take a turn to recite? Radha Sekha Mataji, you go first, please.
अहम् आत्ममनं धातः प्रेष्ठः सन् प्रयासमपि अतो मयि ऋतं कुर्या देहधीर्यत्कृते प्रियः
Very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Devashish Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Aham Atma Atmanam Detaha Prishatsan Prashannam Api Ato Mae Ratim Kuriyat Dehadehi Yat Krit Priya. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Gauringi Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Ahatma Ahamatma Atmanam. Sorry, Prabhuji. Ahamatma Atmanam Dhataha Preshta San Priya Samapi Ato Mai Ratim Kuryat Deha Diryat Kriti Priyaha. Hare
Very
Krishna.
beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Osha Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. अहमात्मानमात्मानं घातः श्रेष्ठः सम्प्रेयसामपि अतो मयि रतिं कुर्यात् देहादेव्यत्कृते प्रियः
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Prabhavati Sachi Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Ahamatmatmanam datah प्रेष्ठः सन् प्रेयसामपि अतो मयि रतिं कुर्यात् देहादिर्यत्कृते प्रियः. Thank you, Prabhu.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Jai Mataji, please.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. Aham Atma Atmanam Dhataha Preshtaha San Presham Api Ato Mai Ratim Kuryad Dehaderyat Krute Priyaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Sanjita Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you. अहम् आत्मा आत्मानं धातः प्रेष्ठः सन् प्रेयसामपि अतो मयि रतिं कुर्यात् देहादिर्यत् कृते प्रियः. Prabhu, could you hear?
Yes, Mataji. Very nicely. Yes.
Okay.
Would you also like to read translation, Mataji?
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I am the super soul of every individual. I am the supreme director and the dearest. People are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to only me. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. We shall move on to Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. Okay, so today letter to Hladani, February 16th, 1971, Gorakhpur. Okay, can I request any other devotee to read this letter? Jai Mataji, would you like to read?
Hare Krishna, yes. My dear Ladeni Devidasi, please accept my blessings. I thank you for your kind letter dated 21st January 1971 and have noted the contents carefully. Yes, the mind is subject to so many impressions from past activities as well as so many past lives lifetimes. So when disturbing thoughts enter your mind, you should simply ignore them. Actually, the process is to always remember the lotus feet of the Lord, but this is not an automatic thing. It takes so much practice due to our conditioned state. The process is to follow the regulative principles and regularly chant 16 rounds. That is our strength in spiritual life, and gradually all such problems will be resolved. And because you are sincerely desiring to serve the deity, you can be sure that Krishna will help you in all respects. So simply be persevering and go on chanting attentively, and all these temporary manifestations will come to pass. Presently, our Indian preaching program
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Is going on so nicely, and wherever we go, we bring our
Hare
devotees.
Krishna, Krishna
And the
Krishna,
people
Hare
are
Hare,
so
Hare
attracted by the purity of the Aarti
Hare
ceremony.
Krishna,
By
Krishna
March
Krishna,
1st,
Hare
I
Hare,
shall be
Hare
going to
Ram,
Bombay, where we will be having a
Hare
wonderful
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
installation
Hare Hare,
ceremony
Hare
at our
Ram,
new Bombay temple.
Hare
The
Krishna,
address of
Krishna
which is
Krishna,
given
Hare Hare,
above.
Hare
I
Ram,
shall be
Ram,
returning to
Hare
USA
Hare.
by the first week.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Offer my
Ram.
blessings to your good husband,
Hare
Mahan.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
All
Hare
the
Ram,
devotees,
Ram,
hoping this
Hare
will
Hare.
meet you in good health. Your ever well wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Apologies, Mataji. I was chatting.
No, it's fine.
Okay, any takeaway points, Mataji, please?
Yes, again, such a beautiful letter, and I think a little bit we covered just now anyway. It's all about the mind. Prabhupada is writing to Ladini Devidasi, and I think she must have written to him about some concerns that maybe some disturbing thoughts are coming or whatever, and he's replying back to say they will always come into the mind, but just ignore them. And how can you ignore them? How will you be able to do that? By always focusing on the lotus feet of the Lord, always thinking of the Lord, always doing things for the Lord, following the regulative principles, chanting attentively, and just doing everything sincerely, all the worship for the deity as well. And he's saying that the more you serve the deity, then Krishna will keep on helping you more and more in all the respects. So he's saying just simply persevere, don't worry too much. Even if they go astray, then just ignore them and just come back and just follow everything, and then eventually it will be all right. And then he's talking about the Indian preaching program, that it's all going very nicely, and people are so much getting attracted to the whole program. The artist ceremony is so beautiful, and people are getting attracted to buy it. And he's just saying that there is going to be installation at the new Bombay temple as well. And then he said he would like to return to USA. He's been talking about it for a while. In March, it looks like now it's going to be first week in April. And he's just offering blessings to the husband as well, Prabhuji Mahananda, and just wishing her well. But the whole essence of this is what we covered today as well, that the mind, we need to control the mind, and the way to control the mind, the slowly the love for the God will happen, and when that happens, everything will be okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Hey, any other comments, dear devotee? Sanchita Mataji, want to add anything, Mataji?
No, Prabhu, everything is covered for this letter. So Mataji has very nicely explained. Hare Krishna. And this letter, as Mataji said, reflected the Bhagavatam purport today. So, yeah, done mostly. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yes, Mataji. So, yes, that is true. And Prabhupada, one statement he's mentioned, So everything, the temporary manifestations will come to pass. So simply be preserving and go on chanting attentively, and all these temporary manifestations will come to pass. Simply tolerate, be preserving, persevering. So yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Any other comments, dear devotee?
Yes, Prabhu. Titiksha is the word you have been saying for a while, and then when we go through so much, then only we realize the meaning that in there also Lord has got a plan that how much we go through, even between husband, wives, children, family, and the society and everything. It's Lord's plan to cut off the knots. So as you mentioned, your today's purport was really, really very important and very valuable core message. It's in that sense that we hear so much things, but unless we tolerate, it's not. I mean, as you mentioned, we are the soul, not the body. That is, no much how much we learn, but unless we slowly, slowly through our life, all these 30, 40, 50 years, whatever lifetime we have, unless we learn this, it's very difficult to cut off those knots of detachment. And maybe that's at the end when it happens. We are so still we cry, but yeah, I mean, maybe we can heal up in a better way. Yeah, that's a big takeaway. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Still, it's so difficult. I mean, yesterday Palla Prabhu came, said one of his colleagues' wife, she went to coma and then died, and their son is only in year 9. And Prabhu was like, so Palla Prabhu, and they went to his house, and he was saying, mother used to look after his education and all, and he has no clue. So this Prabhu, he was like crying, I mean, I don't know how to raise my son now, as if I lost the purpose of life. So, I know it's very hard to say, but the purpose of life, I mean, the abhidheya portion, the why are we here? Sambandha we try to make, but what is our purpose of life? What should we do? That tuning until we start, they sometimes they say like at 70 years age we can start Krishna consciousness, but that doesn't work unless we learn to do it from the early age. We are still late, but at least trying. The abhidheya portion is very difficult. What is the purpose? We do so many things, but what are we doing for the Lord? Are we, even our physical material activity, are we connecting to the Lord? Otherwise, like, it's harsh. It's very harsh. I mean, it's easy to say for somebody else when something happens, but very harsh. Yeah. So slowly we need to use our life. There are prime time when we are doing all our material chores, mundane activities, to understand this also parallelly, that when the time comes for us, it's not that like it should not become unbearable. We still have to bear it. Yeah. I think if you have, sorry, I'm taking a bit of time, but if you have heard this, like Anil Agarwal, I think he is the Vedanta group chairman. Just last week, not last week, 5th of January, he lost his son, and he's quite like, he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire in India. And then next week he went to Gopinath temple in Chowpatty, and he's doing Kirtan. Indradimna Prabhu Maharaj is there. So the Kirtan he did, first when I saw, I looked at it and the video and said, it looks like, I mean, he's singing from his core of his heart. How can, like, he do Kirtan, and then I'm seeing he's like Anil Agarwal, not like a proper initiated devotee. I don't mean anything like that, but not in that sense. Like, how is he doing so much from his passionately the Kirtan? And then later I searched and found out that in the comments somebody has written that now he's surrendered to the Lord. Like, even after losing his 45 years old son in America in a crash, he died. So he's still able to come back to Lord and so passionately sing from his heart. So these things, when we see, like, Lord is preparing us, all this, like all these things are coming to life. We're hearing such incidents, all these are happening for us to prepare slowly. It will come to us also one day. So yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, that is a good reflection. But this many things happens. We force our children. You study well. You go rest. Work very hard. Go write exams. Get good mark. Get good grading. The children go through so much of pain, sufferings. At the end, they do not see any meaning to it. Later on, once they pass, of course, sometimes some may reflect it is good, some may reflect according to their conscience. But actually, a realized person sees this living entity as working, as being as a child or something like what kind of things he might have done. He's going through such a challenges in his life. So many things are there, but and also the adults when they're working through, they go through so much of pressures from the offices as well, and they wanted to increase the targets and increase the economy, do work very hard, but actually who are speaking, they are going through so many problems. It is everything is posing, but it is not reality. No one is doing things because with love, because of it is lack of love in everything. This is all the Western civilization is like that. Everything is posing. There is no love at all. But people come here unnecessarily and die unnecessarily here in this country, going through the sufferings, working hard, and then come here and die. No value for the life, no achievements. What is the use of earning here, being a dog, working like a dog to work for someone's interests who are just posing themselves, who does not even give a respect to you based on your body, based on your tradition. What is the use here? People, they do not realize. They still, let me just go on. Just fox. A fox just putting some kind of a marks on his body. It cannot become a tiger. Your body is like always like this. Your lifespan is only like this. Why are you wasting all of your time in unnecessary things? They do not realize it.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. Yeah, that's one way of reflecting, and the other way of reflecting, yeah, we all have our own realizations, and nobody is wrong in their own perspective. So, like some people, they realize that their children have talent, and then when you force them to do, because temple we see, there are devotees who are doctors. The moment they come, all these senior disciples, like they say, Mataji, I have got pain here, I've got here, there. So, they need, so in the society, you need such devotees also, like who have that professionally. Some devotees have tax problem, so they need accountants. So academics is needed because, of course, the way Prabhupada wanted life, we still don't have like the proper ambience to raise our children that way. So when we are trapped in this material world, we still have to do our duties, then engage our children so that they don't become burden for the society. They become, with their talents, whatever talent they have, when they grow up, they can serve the society as well as in Krishna consciousness. So that should be the motive for parents also, like, to raise them like that. So we see in our group in temple, there's Mataji. We don't get to speak to her. She's a doctor, all the devotees coming to her. Of course, physical problems will be there. So we need such people also. So that's why we try hard as parents. We must do our duties, like Prabhupada said, raise you. Of course, we are giving Krishna consciousness at the same time parallel, because for adults also we're doing the same thing. We are earning money as well as doing Krishna consciousness. So children also, we have to be parallel, like do their best in studies also. So for doing best in studies, you have to work hard. And if you hear Amarendra Prabhu, he always say he is a MIT master's graduate and still he's so humble and doing. So if you have talent, you have to force children to attain that, so that you can serve the society, and serving the society, you serve Krishna. So I think that's a way of I reflect. So I always like push my children to be equally good in both. So that's why maybe, yeah, I find that's not wrong in a way. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing a different angle. Yes, again, keeping Krishna in the center, we work hard. That is with love. Okay, that is good. Okay, when there is a purpose, and love, that is very nice. Thank you so much, Mataji. That is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. And from the announcements point of view, so today evening we have got a preaching practice session at 8 p.m. And Jai Mataji, so do you know who is the preacher tonight?
Gaurangi Mataji, Prabhuji.
Okay, very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, that is, and then our Japa session, evening Japa at 6:30 p.m. Okay, I don't have any further updates. Okay, that's all from the updates. And dear devotees, if you have got any updates, kindly share. Otherwise, we shall conclude and continue with further Japa. Okay. वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटिवैष्णववृन्द की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna conscious day, everyone.